This is the IST Health Tip of the Day. I'm your host, Roberto Parker. This podcast, we tackle the tough questions related to exercise, training for athletes, human performance, biochemical, biomechanical dysfunctions, problems that sometimes you have questions about that you don't quite know the answer to. So stay tuned, enjoy, take good notes, and God bless. You hear a lot about the term core strength. Well, about 2 years ago, and I'll post it here in a second on this video link, I did a video on core strength. I went through some examples of different types of core exercises, but let's define what the core is, shall we? It's just not your abdominal. And a lot of people think it's just the abdominal area, which is an important area, don't get me wrong. But the core really consists of the midsection, the lower back being your lumbar and sacral spine area, the sides of your trunk, your oblique muscles, and your hips. All of that is, in my opinion, in my professional opinion, the core, because they all have to work together in sync. Because your body is a three-dimensional design. You go forward, you go backwards, you go right, you go left, and you turn right and you turn left, rotation. So there's three planes of motion, and our bodies are always on the fly. And sometimes we add a lot of force as we're changing direction. So you might go forward, then turn quickly to the right or left, or rotation. It's like you're in a athletic event. And that's why, honestly, why some people get hurt, because they exercise and train in just one plane of motion, particularly straight ahead motion, which is called your sagittal plane. You should be training all three planes of motion in order to get the optimal amount of core development and core strength. I'm going to go a little bit deeper. I want to talk about the different types of muscles around the core. There are stability, balance, and proprioception. Now, all of those are muscles that are more mind muscle connected. And the types of exercises that develops those segmental proprioceptive type of muscles are things like planks, things like bird dogs. Some people call those bird dogs, where in your knee and you go out with your opposite arm, opposite leg, your right arm, your left leg, and vice versa. Those are more proprioception, stability, balance types of exercises. The muscles that they target are your transverse abdominis, which is the deep lying muscle down here underneath all the other abdominal muscles, the multifidus and the rotatories, which are spinal segmental muscles of your spine. And those muscles do not respond to a lot of heavy lifting or explosive training. They must be targeted with very light amount of weight or very slow motion isometric type of movements, such as planks. Now, you also have your gluteus medius and minimus. I didn't say maximus. Those are muscles that lie underneath the gluteus maximus, more so on the lateral plane of your hips. Now, they do help in some power movements, but they're also significant in more segmental or proprioceptive type of motions. Now, the flip side is power and strength types of abdominal work, or so-called core work. Now, what are we talking about here? We're talking about building speed, agility, strength. Now, that's more so for the muscles that are superficial. They don't lie quite as deep as the segmental muscles. Now, those muscles are things like your gluteus maximus, your rectus abdominis, and your rectus spinae, and your obliques. Now, most of those are abdominal muscles. But as I mentioned in there, you also have your erectors, which helps to counterbalance your abdominals, and your abdominals help to counterbalance your erectors. And you have your gluteus maximus, which is a very powerful muscle that's important for ambulation, for speed, agility, jumping, and explosive type of movements. Before we were civilized, we had to do a lot of running and jumping and climbing in the woods to survive. And that's why we have those big, huge muscles called your gluteus maximus, your butt muscles. So you have two sides of the coin here. You have the smaller segmental proprioceptive muscles that will respond better to slower motions, mind muscle type of exercise. If you want to use a stability Swiss ball, bird dogs, planks, those sort of things. And on the flip side, you have the more power types of exercises, and those muscles are more conducive for the bigger muscles of your gluteus maximus, your rectus spinae, your obliques, and the rectus abdominis. And believe it or not, the rectus abdominis mainly consists of fast twitch fibers. So it's important that you train them in sometimes they're very rapid fashion. And like I said, I'll leave a video here of a few exercises. Then I'll list whether they're more proprioceptive or they're more power oriented. So having said all that, put the two together. It depends upon what your lifestyle is. Depends upon what your goals are. Depends upon what type of activities you want to do. If you're not really active in sports or activities, you might lean more towards doing things like yoga, Swiss ball, planks, that sort of thing. You still should do some power-oriented exercises. I believe that you should. Now, if you're more of a high-powered athletic individual, you're doing a lot of heavy weightlifting, a lot of speed work, a lot of explosive stuff, maybe some combat training, martial arts, boxing. You need to get into power-oriented training. But having said that, you also need to establish a good foundation of good stability strength. And that's where a lot of power athletes screw up. They think all they got to do is just throw a bunch of heavy weights around with speed and strength, and they're okay. And then all of a sudden they throw their back out, and they don't know why, because those segmental muscles like the rotatories and the multifidus, they're not as strong as they should be because they don't respond to that type of training. So both ends need a little bit of the other end, if you guys can understand that. Okay, now guys, I do these for a reason to help educate you. Call me if you need any help with any training advice, nutritional advice. Check out my new website. It's called hardworkhardbodies.com. It's it is a online training program that you can do strictly on your own, in your office, your gym, or wherever, a park area. It doesn't matter. And it's $55 a month. It's a 2-week free trial. Sign up, try it out for 2 weeks. If you don't like it, just opt out. If you do like it, let's go forward with it. I've had some pretty good reviews on it thus far. So I'm on Facebook, I'm on Rumble, I'm on Twitter, I'm on YouTube. So go to my pages. Please hit the like button here, and I'll see you in the future. This has been the IST Health Tip of the Day. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.